I'm going to drain your nuts because I have just found out that your special juice contains more than 30 grams of protein. Like more than a protein shake. I don't have to make one when I get home from the gym. With you, I have an endless supply. I'm going to save so much money.
Yo, what's good, y'all? What's goody, yuddy, yuddy? It's your boy Remo, and I'm back with another V show. Where y'all been? Where I've been? I've been working. It's my birthday weekend, y'all. I'm just chilling. Holidays is coming up. I was at work the other day, and I was like, damn, I ain't did a tenant story in a long time. So I was sitting down thinking, damn, who can I do a story about? Because I had so many tenants in the past. A lot of them I really have to sit down and think about, or, my girl will remind me, or my son will remind me about this tenant or that tenant. I was at work thinking about this one tenant that looked just like Pinky. Y'all know the adult film star Pinky? Yo, this chick looked just like her. And y'all know I have a gift. I can tell you who looked like somebody, That's just one of the six senses I have. You know what I mean? This chick she definitely looked just like Pinky. Except for this chick, it was dumb. She was shaped just like her. She had a nice body and everything. I think she may have been mixed. I think Pinky might actually be mixed too. I think her father might be white. I'm not sure. But yeah, this tenant that I had next door, yeah, she was definitely mixed. Her mother was white and her father was black. But yeah, she was dumb and she was a drunk and she sold drugs out of the house, out of the apartment or whatever. And how I know is because at the end, everything came to light. What you do in the dark will always come to light. But yeah, this chick, she probably was a drug addict too, because she used to be nodding off. She'd be sitting on the porch on her phone just nodding off. But I think that might be might have been a combination of the drinking and the sleep apnea and maybe whatever else she was doing. But yeah, she sold drugs and she got busted on Christmas Eve in 2022. This was at the height of COVID. She only stayed there for 2 months. And yeah, she used to be like around Halloween. I think she moved like around she moved there like around Halloween, like a little bit before Halloween, because I remember she was passing out candy. And it looked like she was dozing off on the porch. She was, I'm standing in the doorway. I'm passing out candy to kids. And, she was sitting there just nodding off with her phone in her hand. And she had a bowl of candy in her lap. The kids could have came and robbed her. Like, if I would have saw some shit like that when I was a kid, I would have ran off with that bowl of Reese's Pieces. But yeah, she had some white friends. And I should have known something was going on because she was another one who liked to party all the time. Then I saw somebody I knew leaving her house. This chick that I work with, cool white chick, and she told me, she was like, "Oh, you live here?" I was like, "Yeah, you know her?" She was like, "Yeah, she's a friend of a friend." I was like, "Yeah." I said, "Is she all right?" She just moved in there. She was like, "She's a party animal, and she's a pill popper." I was like, "Whoa!" And a couple of weeks later, I saw that chick again. The same chick told me, not only do she pop pills, she was like, yeah, that chick, she sell them too. She was like, just be aware. She was like, she was just giving me the heads up, and I said, okay, thanks for the info. So shortly after that, like around Thanksgiving, closer we got to Thanksgiving, I would always hear boom, 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 and it wasn't nobody knocking. Like, you'll hear some steps. Then next thing you know, you'll hear boom, 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 boom. I'm like, man, what the fuck going on? It sounded like somebody knocked some shit down. It sounded like somebody was walking down the hall and just knocked some shit down. But come to find out what it was, she would get up drunk and start walking, and she would just fall. She would get up, walk, boom, 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 boom. Get up again, walk, boom, 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 boom. Get up. It was like a rhythm, boom, 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 boom. It sounded like a marching band. Get up, walk, boom, 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 boom. Get up, walk, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, damn. So one day, I saw her checking the mail, and I'm like, yo, you all right? She was like, oh yeah. She was like, sometimes I sleepwalk and I might trip, and I'm like, ain't no might trip. You was fall. I said, yo, it sounded like you fell or collapsed or something. She was like, yeah, I did. She was like, yeah, the sleep apnea, I got to get it taken care of. And then that day, she smelled like alcohol. I could smell the alcohol coming off her breath, you know. And I said, yo, you gotta take care of yourself. She had two daughters. You know, they were teenagers, but they wasn't really around like that. You know, they was off doing their own thing. I hardly ever saw them. Like I said, this chick only stayed there for 2 months. And so right around Christmas, she got busted doing whatever she was doing, and she got locked up for a couple of weeks. And she got out like around, well, I didn't see her again until around Martin Luther King birthday. See, I remember all this stuff because it was around these holidays, you know. So she got out around Martin Luther King birthday, and she told me that she was about to move, and um, she told me because she paid her rent on time. She told me to keep the security deposit. She was about to move. I said okay, and she told me whatever she leave, I can have. So I said I bet. So she grabbed everything she could. She didn't have a truck or nothing. She just piled everything up into this to her friend little Honda Civic or whatever, and she left all the furniture. She had nice furniture, and believe it or not, she was a clean chick. Her house was immaculate, and you know, she had a lot of nice stuff that she just left. I kind of felt bad. So what I ended up doing, me and my son, we didn't have nowhere to put that stuff, so we took it all out of the apartment and we put it all in the garage. I had like a bunch of drop cloth that I put all over the furniture and stuff. So it sat back there for a couple of months, and by the summer, I saw the same white chick that told me she sell pills. I saw her. I said, "Yo, how's Pinky doing?" She was like, "Oh, Pinky in the hospital." I was like, "Pinky in the hospital?" She was like, "Yeah," and she was in ICU. I was like, "Damn, what happened?" Coming to find out, she had COVID. She had COVID, and she had a bunch of other issues, you know. And you know, I wanted to go check on her, but I just said, "Nah, that ain't none of my business." So I saw one of her daughters shortly after that, and her daughter was like, "Yeah, she was in the hospital for a while. You know, she had a bout with COVID. She doing good." She said, "We stay at such and such and such and such." And I said, "Yo, tell your mom I still got her furniture in the garage." She was like, "What? Really?" She was like, "Oh my God, because we just got a new apartment, and we don't have no furniture. We thought you got rid of it." I said, "Nah." I said, "It was brand new furniture." And I said, "She come get it whenever." I said, I told her to give, you know, my number's still the same. Tell her to give me a call. So she gave me a call, and I told her, "Yo, you know, you doing good?" She was like, "Yeah, I'm good." So I had a truck back then. I had a Ford F-150, I believe it was. And then I told her, I said, "Yo, if you can't find a truck," I said, "Yo, you know, just give me a couple of dollars." She was like, you know, I told her, I said, "Me and my son, you know, we could move your furniture." She didn't have a whole lot. She just had a couch, love seat, end tables, and a kitchen table or something like that. So, you know, um, she came over. Her and her two daughters helped me move the stuff. You know, helped me put the stuff on the truck. And I didn't really want her moving stuff because, you know, she was still walking around kind of slow. So her and her daughters, they was happy. You know, they was like, "Yo, we could do this ourselves." I said, "Okay, all right, bet." So um, you know, it took like 2 trips. So the first trip, um, I dropped her daughters off, and they took the couches, but we still had to go back and get the table. So Pinky rode with me to get the end tables or whatever. And she was just telling me, you know, her about staying in the hospital and how they did her and stuff. And so I said, "Yo, just be glad you're alive." She was like, "I don't know how I'm gonna pay you for this." She was like, "I really do appreciate it." And I was like, "Nah, it ain't no big deal." I said, "You know, we got to look out for each other sometime." I said, "I really didn't want to get rid of that stuff because it was brand new." I said, "Plus I knew I was gonna see you again." And I said, "It's a small world. I knew I was gonna see you again." She was like, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." And then she hugged me. And the whole time she was talking to me, she had her left hand on my thigh. And I'm driving. I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, everything's good. You know, everything cool. You know what I mean? You know, we gotta look out for each other." I'm looking down like, "Yo, you getting a little close to my dangling, you know what I'm saying? So I pulled up in the driveway. It was night. It was nighttime. It was dark. She told me to pull all the way in the back. And I'm thinking because she wanted room to get that the tables off the back of the truck. So coming to find out, her daughters wasn't even there to help her. I don't know where they went. So I said, "Oh, I can do this all by myself." I put it on by myself. So I put it on the truck by myself so I can, take it off. She was like, "Yeah, she was like, just take it off the truck and leave it in the backyard." She was like, my nephews will put it in the house. I said, "Okay." So um I did that, and then right when I was getting ready to leave, she hugged me and she whispered in my ear. She said, "If you want me to give you some head, I'll give it to you." And I said, "Okay, why not?" And then I said, "Wait a minute, did she just offer me some head?" And it just was weird. It happened so fast. And she said, "You think you got a couple dollars on you?" And I'm like, "Wait a minute. I just moved your stuff. I helped you out with your furniture. Now you want me to give you a couple dollars for some head?" This is what I'm thinking in my head. And I'm thinking like, damn, how that shit work? She just give it to me just off the strength of helping her move her stuff. But I said, "Okay, I bet. Yeah, I give you a couple dollars." So it was weird because, we got back in the truck and she gave me some dome, but while she was bobbing for apples, she fell asleep. She was like, "Oh." She was like, "Oh, I'm tired. I'm so, whoa." Then she started brushing her teeth with her, like, "Yo." I'm like, "Yo, y'all think I'm lying? I ain't bullshit, y'all." It was weird. That's how it happened, y'all. She looked just like Pinky, except for her hair was dyed. It was dyed red, white, and blue. You know what I mean? It was near. It was like around the 4th of July at this time. So she dyed her hair red, white, and blue. When I first met her, it was like a, it was like a violet color. It was, but she looked just like Pinky, y'all. I would post a picture of her, but now somebody might see this and y'all might say, "Hey, I know her," and then y'all will show her this video, and she still know where I live at. So I still live in the same place. I don't want no problems. I don't want to have to and clap nobody. But yo, y'all like, share, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think about this video. All right, 100, y'all.